how should you eat before having a workout? This is the topic of this video. I'm not going to be